Hey guys, welcome to our next video. I'm the Worm, this is the Proton. Today we're going to be doing the Vamo, which we've been promising. We tried twice.
We've tried.
And failed twice.
We didn't fail.
Well,
we were let down
failed
by software.
So we've reinstalled the software and it seems to be working a treat. It seems we've uploaded 2 videos today already. So yeah, we're just going to let Proton crack on with this one, with the Vamo, and he's going to flap.
Right, okay guys. And that's been quite popular in comments and stuff, people asking about this, so we have been trying to get this out, as we've said, and finally, hopefully, third time lucky. Basically, Vamo, lovely little mod. It's quite versatile, it's got a lot of functionality. Basically, we'll start off with what it's got in it. Basically, you've got a very similar, if not exactly the same chipset as the ZMAX. It's been tested a lot and everyone reckons it's the ZMAX chipset in this, which is twice the price. You've got variable wattage, you've got variable voltage, you've got an ohms tester, you've got battery life remaining, and you have got a pointless mode, which no doubt we'll go into once we've shown you.
Mode.
It's basically, you've got 2 modes. You've got mode 1, which is inaccurate, which is from an old chipset. So you set it to 8 watts and it could be running you at 9.5. You set it to 6 set it to 6 watts, it could be running you at 7. Set it to 4 volts, it could be running you at 4.2.
Actually blow your own atomizer setting.
It is inaccurate. I can't see any reason as to why you'd use that. It's also got the NO2 mode, and that is the accurate RMS setting, which is what you set is what you get. Give or take 0.1 because it's not a Privari, but most mods will give or take 0.1 as the battery drops off. And we'll show you how to do all that kind of stuff with changing all the modes and stuff right now in this video. Right then guys, basically what I'm going to do is run you through the features of the Vamo as best I can. We're winging this guys, so bear with me as usual. 5 clicks on and off, fairly simple. Occasionally this does take more than 5 clicks, just keep pushing until it says on, but it's very rare that it does that. Once you're on that, you can adjust the voltage quite easily. Plus and minus are there. You go from 3 all the way around to 6, it will round robin for you. So yeah, it's fairly easy to do that. You just set your voltage, job done. If you want to volt in watts, you push the 2 in together and give it a few seconds. And you see that's just changed to watts. That little bit come up in the corner there, that's now in watts, and it goes from 3 all the way to 15 in 0.5s. And you can go all the way around. Round robin from 3 to 15. It's very simple. I vape in volts. I'm not a big fan of watt vaping, so I'm going to switch that back. Hold those 2 and then you're back to volts again. It's fairly simple now in 0.1 increments. There is a couple of other bits involved with this. Basically, to test your ohms, hold down your plus button for a couple of seconds, and that gives your ohmage 2.1 ohms DDA. To check your battery life, hold down your negative, it brings up your battery. Your battery is tested, it's not tested in percentage, it's tested in volts. An empty battery is 3.2 volts, a full battery is 4.2. This is 3.7 again. 3.7, so that's 50%. My rule of thumb is basically take 3.2 from whatever it says, times it by 10, that's your percentage. So 3.7 is 50, if it's 3.3 it'd be 10%. That's kind of standard. There is one other feature to the Vamo that's fairly pointless. If you hold down either button for a prolonged period of time, it's about 10 seconds, you'll see it if I do it for you. You get your ohms, which is obviously showing now 2.1, and eventually there you go, it says NO1. Basically, if you then do the same thing again, it will take a while. It's work on either button. If you do negative, it doesn't really matter, as long as you hold that button down, it will change it between NO1 and NO2. That's now NO2. NO2 is accurate RMS setting. NO1 is an inaccurate mode. So if you set it on NO1 and you're in watts. The Worm is here. The Worm is here. He's listening and piss taking as usual. If you set it to NO1 and put it on 8 watts, you could be sitting somewhere around 9.5. It's just inaccurate. If you set it on NO2, it's RMS, it's accurate. So you set it to 8 watts, you get 8 watts. It's kind of a pointless mode, I believe, that was left over from a previous chip, that this chipset was used before. They've adapted it and just left the old mode in. Some people say it's a feature. Personally, I think it's pretty pointless.
We have researched this. It's also the same with the ZMAX as well.
I have no idea. If you've researched it, you have. I mean, the chipset, yeah. I don't know whether that mode thing is the same in the VMAX and ZMAX, but the chipset basically. Very similar chipset either way. Everyone thinks that basically the chipset is exactly the same. It's just not been confirmed from the companies. But I've watched several comparisons, and honestly, they are the same chipset in the ZMAX and in the Vamo. It's just the ZMAX costs you twice as much, and in my opinion, doesn't look as good. That's a very brief of the. I'm not showing anything more, mate, doesn't matter, but that's a very brief of the features of the Vamo. Like I say, it's 5 on and off. It's fairly cool. Now and again you will get a bit of a stick on that, and to be honest I might get a bit more than most because I've just painted this. As you can see, it's matte black. It's simple as that, guys, really, to be honest with you. There's nothing else really I need to show you. I don't think there is. Have I got anything you know of?
As far as I know, no.
As far as he knows, no.
Well, it's not my mod, so...
No, it is my mod, and this is haphazard and a bit random, but it's very easy to use this. It's just 3 buttons, 1, 2 and 3. That's your fire button. You only use that to turn it on, off, and then obviously fire. And everything else is done through that. Right hand side is ohms, left hand side is battery power. Either of them will change between NO1 and NO2. It's pretty simple stuff, really. Right, we'll head back over to see the rugged gorgeousness. 1 second, mate. There you go, guys. It's not overly difficult. It's really not, and once you've done it a couple of times as well, it becomes second nature. Let's say the only downsides really is that the mod doesn't remember your settings, but it will remember that NO1 and NO2. So change it when you first get it to NO2. Never touch it again. You're going to want it in accurate mode. It makes no sense to have it in accurate mode. Inaccurate, sorry. I honestly can't remember what was in that video that you've just seen, guys, if I'm honest with you. It was done last night. So I've completely forgotten what we said in that video, but I'm pretty sure.
We went through the inaccurate, we went through...
Yeah, we went through the modes of this.
All the ohms testing, all the changing to wattage, changing back into voltage, blah blah blah. Now it's about protons.
No, it's not about that yet.
It's not about that.
It's not about that yet. We'll get onto that. Basically,
I don't know what that is yet.
No, you don't know what that is yet, and you will find out because he's itching to tell you. Same as it was last night in the fucking video we did.
It was funny stuff.
Anyway, this Vamo is black, as you can see. All right, you can't get it in black. I painted this to my eval, and it's going to be repainted again, probably to my eval again. But you can get it in stainless, black chrome and standard chrome. It's only them 3 options you get. They all, no matter what colour you get, it has matching buttons. Now these are the version 2s from Vaporscape. They're metal buttons. They've got a good clicky feel. The screw threads on this mod are wicked. I love the fact that you can undo your body, and I'm pretty sure, yep, I am. I'm running into 18 350s at the minute. You can run in one 18 650 or two 18 350s, or pardon me, you can take your body piece off like I've just done, screw your bottom cap onto your main body, and then you're running it in mini mode using one 18 350. So obviously you do lose the battery capacity, but you do have the advantage that it is now a lot smaller. As you can see, if you guys have watched me vape before, you know that it's usually there. So it does make a difference. It's just nice to be able to do that. You should bear that in mind if you're going to order one of these. I know that Steve and one of the blokes we've been talking to in the comments, and also Dan, looking at ordering one of these. Bear in mind what battery configurations you are most likely to run. Realistically, I think I've used this thing on small mode twice. It's not something I'm worrying about. I mean, I've got big hands. I've got a big ego case. I don't need it in small mode realistically. So it's not a mode that I run in often. But the mod is more accurate when you're using two 18350 batteries than if you're using single 18350 or a single 18650, whether you've got in big or small mode. It's not like it's inaccurate when it hasn't got those in. I just said that it is slightly more accurate. I don't think that's realistically in terms of volts and what you set it to in your ohms reading, because it's slightly out at worst on any mode or configuration. But I think when you get to the bottom end of your battery life, you do get more when you've got the stacked batteries. So I mean, with a Bavaria you get exactly what you've set all the way through its life until the moment it dies. With most other mods, this included, that drops off as the batteries die. So if you get to 30% battery, you've got it set to 6 volts for whatever reason you're vaping at 6 volts.
But I don't think that's down to the battery. I think that's more down to the chipset.
It's not. It's made to go with the 18350s, but it's definitely to do with the chipset.
Yeah.
It's just, that's what you get. That's what the Bavaria is so expensive. The chipset is so expensive because it does literally set to 4.2 for the entire life of that battery until the very second it dies. It will be 4.2. This and all other mods will drop off. Okay, so you'll get a decrease as that battery power decreases, whereas the Bavaria, the chipset boosts that and makes sure you get exactly what you set. But that's what you're paying for. Just all round. Nice little mod, it really is. It just does exactly what it says in the tin. A few of the guys have been asking where to get it from, what do I get, so on and so forth. So basically what I got was Vamo your colour choice, totally up to you. I went with black chrome. Personally, I wanted the black chrome to be slightly darker. On reflection, I'd have probably just got the stainless steel, which is the same price as the black chrome, $44.95, or I probably would have just gone with the standard chrome. I'm more of a stainless man, to be honest with you, but that's your choice to make. If you want to save yourself a fiver, get the normal one. It's not something that's going to bother you majorly. Most things have either black and or silver in them now, the adapters and stuff, so you're not going to be overly disappointed. Got that with an XTAR WP2 charger. Okay, it's only 15 quid for that charger. I've got it here, I'll show you in a second. It comes with 2 spacers which you need to use to charge your 18350s, but I recommend getting an additional 2 at 49p each, so you have 4, which means if Worm shows you is now, you can use 2 in each dock, and that is how you charge your 18350s. You want to charge your 18650, you just unscrew them, and that is now ready for an 18650, because obviously the bottom prong is on a spring. It's just when it's at full tension. Okay, so your 18650 fit in there. When it's right up to the top, the 18350 won't reach positive terminal without those 2 spacers. So just get them.
I will show that.
Yeah, you've got 3 settings on the bottom now. Okay, you see your black switch on, I believe it's your right. That one there, it's got 1 amp, half an amp, and 0. 1 amp is a quick charge, half an amp is a longer charge, and 0 is no charge. I just set it on 1 amp and it's done me absolutely fine. If you want to give it a longer charge, it's up to you. I've charged it on both and I've noticed no difference in the performance of the battery once leaving it for a longer charge, to be honest with you. Maybe as the batteries get more used and they start to sort of drop off a little bit just in terms of battery life, you might notice a slight difference. You will notice the output USB port there. When that switch is on 0 and you've got that output USB port in now, you can use your mod batteries to power a device through USB. So if you're out and about, you have your charger on your mod batteries and your iPhone battery's running low, stick your iPhone charger into that USB port bastard, flick it over to 0, and it will use your mod charger to charge your battery for I don't know how long it will do that. I haven't actually done it, to be honest with you. My phone's always charged.
We will test this and we'll update you on it.
We'll let you know how much battery sap you get, but that for me is a wicked feature. Absolutely brilliant. I mean, if you were out and about and your mate had a spinner, for example, and all you had was a spare 18650 battery, you could charge your spinner off of your battery for your mod. It's just, I think that's a brilliant feature for a charger that costs $15.99. If you include the 2 spacers, $16.99 or $16.97 if you want to be pedantic. It's a wicked charger, but that's what I would recommend. The Vamo, that XTAR WP2 charger. Fucking mouthful. And then your battery configuration. If you know you're just going to want to run it in big mode, and that is all you're going to want to do, I'll probably recommend just getting 2 18650s, because you get 2,000 mAh out of each of those, whereas with 2 stacked 18350s you're only going to get 1,600 mAh. So you might as well just get the 18650s and run it on that. If you know you're just going to run it on small, or you're going to want to run it as most accurate possible, then just get 4 18350s. That's totally down to you, but I got 1 18650, 2 18350s. I'm not sorry about the choice I made. That's what I'd recommend. Spacers, Vamo charger, delivery, vaporscape.co.uk. The links, discount code is ECR69. That'll get you 10% off, which will basically mean you can get it special delivery to your door the very next day if you order before free, for just under 80 quid, give or take a couple of few quid, which is really, really good. When it comes to finding where the bits are on the site, the Vamo's clearly labelled on the left hand side. Just look under mods and it'll be there. The chargers are a little bit more difficult to find. If you go into accessories, the chargers will be there. It's the 2-bay charger. The 6-bay charger is exactly the same thing, it's just 6 bays, but you're not going to need them.
Be the one that's 15 quid.
Yeah, you want the one that's 15, 16 quid, XTAR WP2. Pardon me. And the spacers are also under accessories. Batteries are under batteries. You have got the AW ones there that are slightly more expensive and have less mAh in them. They're recommended for the Pravari, which is what Worm uses. It uses the AWs basically, because if you don't use them AWs, it avoids your warranty. Personally, they cost more and there's less mAh. You're not running a Pravari. I've had absolutely no issues whatsoever with these batteries. The only thing I did want to mention, I've had to mention this twice in the 2 videos done now, and it is a major thing, but it's not at the same time. You'll get what I mean. Basically, when you're stacking batteries, you can't stack batteries to charge them because it can cause them to vent. So don't think you can buy the charger and not buy 2 spacers and charge 2 of them 18350s at once, because you'll end up blowing your batteries and probably ruining your charger. So buy the spacers and don't be cheap for an extra quid. when stacking batteries in the mod, there have been cases of batteries venting, and that's not just when you're stacking batteries, that's just in general. But when you stack your batteries and they vent, apparently it exacerbates the reaction, makes it worse. And that has led to what they call explosive venting, and what the battery does is vents and swells at the bottom and blocks off your vent hole, which is why all these mods have vent holes. All Worms Provari's got it, all mods have got vent holes, the Z-Max have got them on the bottom and around the sides. That's in case the battery does vent, to stop pressure building up. If your battery at the bottom swells and your battery at the top's venting, you effectively create a pipe bomb. Now, obviously, that is not good. I don't think I'd need to go into the reasons as to why that's not good. I'd assume you're all intelligent enough to realise why you don't want a pipe bomb in your hand. There are apparent warnings that happen before this goes off if it was to vent, and basically one of them's a flame out the bottom. Now, I'd imagine, again, that most of you are intelligent enough that if you was to see a massive flame coming out the bottom of your mod, you'd probably drop it as a precaution and step back. If you're not one of those people that would have done that, do it if it happens and you've got a Vamo, or any other mod that takes stack batteries, so telescope mods, Z-Max, all this guy. Z-Max I don't think does stack batteries. I think it does. But it's incredibly rare. There's 15 cases, no one's died, no severe injuries, just minor injuries. But it's something to be aware of.
We couldn't find any of single batteries.
No, there's no record of
but
any.
But it is still possible. It's a battery.
It's still possible to explode vent with a single battery, but I think because when you're stacking them, it's if your battery vents, and it's very rare that happens. If the bottom one vents first and swells, and then if the top one vents as well, that's when it can happen. The likelihood of this happening is so small, it's ridiculous. It really isn't worth worrying about. I just went to fill you in on it, basically.
The way we've been looking at it is like, the only thing we can see like why this would happen even more so in your mods when you're stacking batteries is if you're charging them stacked. Because Mr. Proton actually sent an email to the Vaporscape dude, I can't remember what his name is.
Jason.
And he basically said, can I stack my batteries to charge them? And he went, no, do not do this, this will increase chances of venting. Didn't say it will make venting, but increases the chance. So we're assuming that these 15 cases, which is so rare, out of the amount of people who've got mods out there, they are probably the 15 that have stacked their batteries to charge them.
They're probably using cheap fucking Poundland batteries, and they're probably
or 99-cent shop batteries,
99 cent, whatever it is, thrift shop batteries, and they've probably also had these batteries for about 4 years. It's probably, I mean, these all batteries really are recommended 500 charge uses. So you use it, charge it 500 times.
I mean, nobody's counting, so you don't know exactly, but
at the end of the day, if you're charging a 2000 mAh battery and it's running out after 2.5 hours, it's time to get a new battery.
Or if you see your battery's got a slight bit of wear and tear on the side where the casing's coming off, where you've been putting it in and out so much, throw that thing away.
The
casing risk anything.
Super duper big deal, but for the sake of a fiver, you might as well stick it at worst case as a backup.
I mean, maybe not so much if you've got that sort of mod, but if you've got like one of the higher end ones, like the Z-Max, which is 80 quid, or you going even higher into the things of Provari. If I saw a little tear on my battery, I'd throw that fucking thing. They ain't going nowhere near my Provari. I mean, I'm quite sure the same with you. Why that's your only mod at the moment.
If it was just on the battery sleeve, you got a sleeve and you got a case. If you got a crack in the case, then there's no chance I'd even have that battery in my house. If a little bit of the wrapping, that's a vinyl wrapping, comes off, I'm probably not going to sweat it too much, to be honest with you, because I used to peel them off for fun, not for mods, but for controls and stuff. But yeah, all that is a protective sleeve around your metal case. It's no super big deal. But at the end of the day,
if you're in doubt, don't bother.
If you're in doubt, for the sake of a few quid, chuck it and get another one. Do you know what I mean? It's not a major thing. The chances of this happening, even if you don't chuck them and get another one, are so minute, it's ridiculous. But we just wanted to make you aware of some things that we weren't aware of when I bought this.
I mean, think about how many people buy batteries just for like around your house controllers and stuff like that. You probably buy like in the region of about 20 to 30 batteries a year anyway. What's another 2 or 3 a year?
It's not even going to be that, mate.
No, I know it's not, but I'm just saying.
2 a year.
If it does happen, like I know you're misusing them, or you're dropping them, or you're leaving them in case, you drop them on concrete, and there's like a big dent in there, don't risk it.
Yeah.
Don't risk it. It's not worth the risk. So
I mean, whilst we're talking about batteries venting, there are a few telltale signs. One of them is if you notice a bad smell coming from. Now, what this bad smell smells like, I don't know. I honestly don't know, but I just know this is a sign that you can look out for.
What smell you normally have?
Let's face it, if you smell your mod and it doesn't smell like either e-juice or something else, just chuck the battery, alright? A bad smell is an early sign of a battery venting. So just be aware of that, and also any sort of physical deformities, just be aware that they're there. Whilst they're on batteries for the Vamo, get the nipple top ones. This is the V2 from Vaporscape. The difference in the V2, basically, your bottom cap on this one has a nice big spring. It's well tensioned. It's not overly loose and floppy. In the V1s it was, and when you had the 18650 and it used to rattle around a bit, and even when you had them stacked, I don't think it used to put enough pressure on the base, and I think there was also an adjustment made in the body as well to adapt for flat top batteries. But the V1 was recommended nipple tops, and I would just stick with those, to be honest with you. And there's another thing you should be aware of as well. The E-Fest batteries on Vaporscape, they are advertised 18650 3400 mAh, and I do believe they sell them at 3400 mAh. Don't quote me on that. The ones that are 3400 mAh are slightly wider, only by about a mil or mil and a half. That's enough to not have it fit in this body comfortably. It's incredibly snug in there, the batteries. I'll show you what an 18 battery looks like in there. You have no room for manoeuvre, okay? So don't think I'll get the 18650 at 3400 mAh because it's going to last me longer, because it won't fit. And it's not going to last you longer because you won't be able to use it. So 2000 mAh really is enough. I am a definite heavy vapor towards steam machine. Worms the same. 2000 mAh is enough to last you all day. Alright, you might get in at night and think, oh, I've got to chuck it on at 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock at night, but chuck it on and get your other two out, or your other one, or run it in mini mode, whatever it is you're doing, just do that and you're good to go. Use that battery again the next day.
Again, about batteries, I know it's a little bit off topic, but you might want to check out Amazon if you're in the UK, or Amazon American version for your batteries as well, because they do sell a pair of batteries on there. But they're the fast.
They are ultra-fire, high drain, and they're 1200 mAh, and you get two of them for £6.50.
They're the 18350s.
18350. So you basically buy two sets of them for just over a tenner, and you can run it in big and small mode, and you've got 4 batteries. So you've got 2400 mAh when you're in big mode, which is even more than the E-Fest batteries. Again, I've only stuck to batteries that are sold on E6 sites, just purely because that's where I bought this from. Bought it in one hit. Said to her, I'm probably going to buy some other batteries.
And you were thinking about them?
I could, yeah, basically found them nice and cheap, and they should do
That's
the
where
job.
I bought my Panasonic ones from, which are highly protected, and they actually state they are for use in a Provari. I know they're not the ones that void my warranty, but they are 2000 mAh, 18500s.
At nearly twice the price of a AW battery, and they're made by one of the biggest names in the business, and the biggest name in the business is recommended and they're used for Provari directly from the Panasonic factory. That's where I'd stick my money if it was me with a Provari. So,
I mean, to be honest, I am going to be a little bit cautious with them. Don't get me wrong, I am going to be like, if there's any kind of anything from them, they're out and they're gone. Well, they won't be gone, but they won't be using my Provari no more. So, but that's just batteries for in a whole. Check Amazon out if you're willing to go and buy that. I mean, we didn't actually search for the AW batteries, did we? So, but they might be on there as well, a little bit cheaper. I mean, we don't know if they sell them in double packs for a couple of quid cheaper.
Did search for 18350s, 18490s, and 18650s, and nowhere did AW come up though. So I'd imagine they're only sold to E6 sites for sale. Boo-hoo. But it's one of them things. But yeah, guys, Vaporscape is definitely where I would recommend, because I think the Vamo, if you get it in standard chrome's $39.95, so it's 40 quid. Call it. Charges 16 quid with 2 spaces. Different configurations of battery, call it 25 quid.
Personally buying that one. Mainly because it's cheapest and because I want to get a wrap for it. There's no point getting any colour, it's just get the cheapest one, they're all the same inside, whatever. I'm going to go buy a wrap for it.
You can get wraps for these as well. Like I say, if you don't like the look of any of them, you want it in carbon fibre or whatever, a wrap's about 10-15 quid, and it wraps top all the sections individually so that you can run it in mini or maxi mode, however you want to call it, and it will look like carbon fibre, which personally is the bollocks. So that's where I put my money. ECR69 discount code, I think it's about 81 quid before the discount code, so it's going to knock you down to about 72 plus £6.50 for special delivery, because let's face it guys, we ain't waiting through 3 days for delivery for the sake of 3 quid, are we? So chuck the special delivery on there. Lovely customer service at Vaporscape. Generally all round wicked site. We've recommended it more and more in these videos. Can't recommend it enough.
The only thing we wish they had more was flavourings for our DIY juice.
Yeah, they lack a little bit on flavourings.
On the whole DIY range, to be honest.
No, they've got a good amount. I mean, their PG and VG are reasonably priced in comparison to everyone else. Their nicotine solution is actually fairly cheap to most other places. It's comparable to Liberty Flights, which is cheap, but it's good quality. It's just their flavouring range. They sell every and anything else under the sun. Novas, Kangers, Pro Tanks, iClears, iClear 30s, iClear 16s.
Bogues.
You've got your Bogues, you've got your Kanger Cartos, you've got several Carto tanks, you've got your Smoctech Carto tanks.
Adapters, plimps.
You've got batteries. You don't sell camphor wire, mesh, or silica wick. So Vaporscape, add that to your stock list.
And we'll be with you all the time then.
Yeah, basically, there really isn't a bad word we can really say about Vaporscape. They really are a top-notch site. Don't worry about the whole, I've not used them before, whatever else. Trust me, we use them religiously and they're fine. And their customer service is really good. So it's just a good site. We've sort of got a little point system for mods. And what we do is sort of out of 10s for it. And
we basically do 2 scales. We do for its price and compare
for
to
its
the
price
others.
and just mod in general. So we'll go. Well, the for its price is
all
right.
mods were the same price.
Yeah.
Would you get this over
Well,
something
that's
else?
part of it basically.
Yeah,
But
you'll see as we go along.
we'll start with it. Basically looks. Now, as you can see, I painted it black because I wasn't. The look was fine, but I just wanted it a different colour.
We wanted a black.
Looks for me, I'd say 9.5. If they came stock in black, so I didn't have to take it apart and this and the other, which we'll get onto after this, no doubt, it would probably be a 10. It is a sweet looking little thing. I love the fact you've got.
It's not little.
It's not little, but chuck us the 30ml bottle of juice. Let's do the 30 bottle juice test. Everyone's got one of these. 30ml bottle of juice. That's the size of your Vamo. All right, your Vamo ends there. All right, so we're getting on for nearly twice as big as a 30ml bottle of juice. But when we're in mini mode, we're only the end cap, a little bit there, that above my finger, bigger than the Pavari Mini. It's big, but I mean you can see it in my hand. It's not uber massive, and in terms of like length in comparison to something like an Ego Twist 1000 mile,
We will say as well,
there's not much in it.
even in big mode with a battery in, it still weighs less than my Pavari without a battery in.
Yeah, it's a
It's
lovely
not
little thing.
overly heavy, but obviously it's heavier than your Twist and your pass-throughs and stuff.
Yeah, it's definitely heavier than those.
Yeah, but just so they got standard on weight if you're going to buy one. It is going to be heavy, but it's not going to be the heaviest. You're not going to be carrying around a brick all day.
No, that's it. But it looks to me
It's comfortable.
It is. It's not
weighted both
uncomfortable.
sides. It's not like
Yeah, it's fairly equal. It doesn't feel like you're top heavy or bottom heavy. It just feels like sort of. It feels like a spinner on steroids.
So you're saying
I'd say 9.5 for looks.
there you go. I do like it, but it's not my personal preference overall. But I'm still going to give it an 8 because it does still look nice, and I think it looks better in mini mode. But that's my personal preference. But I would probably use it in big mode just for the longer battery life, just because that's how I roll. So it's going to be an 8.5. I mean, if it did come in standard black, I would give it a 9.
I think for a battery, that's still a good mark, though.
Yeah.
Out of 10. I think. Bear in
Out
mind
of the colours you can get, it's an 8.5.
Yeah.
Black, it would be a 10.
more colour range would be nice. Then you have got the option to wrap it, so that kind of gives you a bit of more of that
That still
customizability.
Takes it up to like
It's extra
£6
money. It's extra money. It takes you up to about 50, 55 quid, depending on what wrap you get and where you get it from. But it does offset that look nicely. I mean, if you use stainless stuff or chrome stuff or whatever, then wicked. You guys have seen my Vamo in black chrome. You've seen what it looks like. It is not an ugly mod by any way.
Oh no, it's not ugly.
And it's not a bad colour. It's just I wish you could go. Do you know what? I just want that in blue or black, because black's a fairly common colour amongst
or if you're a
batteries.
woman, you want one in pink. It would be nice to
I
have
can't imagine
black.
if you're a woman you're going to want a mod this size, but
Well, you don't know that.
I do not know that. If you're a woman and you want a mod this size,
I'm quite sure there's
message me,
many
you're
women
my
out there
kind
are
of girl.
more hardcore than us.
Probably.
I mean,
functions and sort of functionability of this mod, I think is the next mark we did. Like, so we've done this video a few times, so we've done it twice already. We're trying to cover everything.
trying to remember everything we did.
By functionality, what I mean is basically what the device can do. So, run it through again. You got variable voltage, variable wattage, which the Pavari doesn't even have.
Nope.
You've got an ohms tester. You've got the battery tester. You've got that pointless mode, which is probably more of a negative than a positive. But for what it can do, it is a rival to the Z-Max. It's got the same chipset. It does exactly the same stuff.
It's a recycled chipset, isn't it? To put in this. I think
Well,
that's
no. The version 1 chipset was in this first. Then they adapted it to go into the Z-Max. Come back to this and adapted again for this. So it's been around, but it works well. And to be honest with you, I'd rather it been around and work well than be a brand new one and not have any idea what's going on.
If it's been around, it's working.
That's exactly the thing. So functionality for what it can do, because it will do everything, it's definitely a 10 for me.
I did go into this a little bit more in depth last time, but I'm going to kind of skim it down to this. If you didn't have that pointless mode in, I would give it a 10, but the fact that I have to change it when I buy it, because it's a pointless being there anyway, it kind of just, why do I have to do that? So I'm giving it a 9.5, but that's still amazingly good. But it's just that little thing niggles me, and the little things that niggle me, drive me up the wall more than the big things, you know.
Yeah.
But that's just me. So that's a short version. Last time I ran it on for about 10 minutes. So
yeah, I think what I was going to go on to after
sorry
this.
about the hissing, guys. I'm trying to get a
Don't
drink.
a bottle of Coke. I think what I went to yesterday was features, and by features I don't mean what it's capable of. I mean what it can do. So some of the features, for example, you've got your ego threading in there. Alright, in there you've got ego threading on the outside. You've got your 510 in the middle. You can fit Stardust, C4, C5, all that kind of stuff on here, as well as anything that's 510 connected. The only thing you can't fit on it that's ego threaded is a Kanger, because it's slightly too wide. You'd have to get yourself an adapter for that, but it's like £3, and no other mod has the ability to take the Kanger standard anyway.
Or anything that's released. You want to take the CE5s?
Yeah, basically most mods you need to buy an adapter for. Unless you're using the Kanger, you're not going to need to with this.
Unless it's got the 510 fitting pointing out the bottom. And it's got a flat base.
Unless it protrudes out, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know many mods that do that. To be honest with
I don't
you.
think any of them do except for that
Not
one.
that I've seen, no.
I mean, we haven't got every mod, so we can't say, but we have looked into most of them.
Yeah. Yeah,
so,
but that up there, it's got a nice well. If you get an overspill of juice, you could probably fit about 1 ml of juice in there before you even get anything near your positive prong. Its ability to transform like a telescope mod into 2 different modes. I know it's not like a true telescope mod, but you can take any size battery, but it's, I think, as close as you're going to get without being a telescope mod. Having that bit you can remove and go, right, it's big and now it's small, hey! And it still works just as well as it does with an 18650, just doesn't last quite as long. It's getting a 10 for me. For what it can do against other mods that are twice the price, the Z-Max is twice the price. The Z-Max cannot remove that centre post to make it smaller. The Z-Max, I don't think has got the big well. I might be wrong on that. I haven't looked that much into the Z-Max. So I looked at the Vamo, see some comparisons to the Z-Max and thought, why buy a Z-Max? They're the same thing, and the Z-Max in an uglier body. But yeah, for what
the
it can
Z-Max
do,
has got 2 different kinds out, hasn't it? It's got the Z-Max and the Z-Max telescopic, which will shrink so you can make the smaller body.
Okay, yeah, I'll take that back. But again, that's more money.
More money, yes. It's another 15 quid, I think it was.
15 or 20 quid, yeah.
Depending on what site you're going to.
But yeah, sort of for what it can do, is functionality and just what it's capable of. Just what it does out of the box, for me, is a 10.
This is functionality, yeah? And usability. Or is it usability as well, or is it just functions?
Functions.
Right, functions, yeah. I mean, it will take pretty much everything but a Kanger, as we can see, standard. So the buttons are easy to use, the modes are easy to use, except for the initial start up where you have to hold for 10 seconds to get into accurate mode, which I would assume you would want anyway. 9.5 again, just because of that inaccurate mode that comes on standard, just annoys me.
There you go.
So
usability is what I think the next one's going to be. You just touched on it. You've got 3 buttons. Your big one, 5 clicks on and off. Okay, 1.
Which have already been through.
5 again. Right, plus and negative button, that's all it is. You hold down your plus button for your ohms, your negative for your battery, both for your watts, both again for your volts, and you fire. Usability of this device is definitely a 10 for me. It is so easy to use. You don't get any instructions with this, guys, so make sure you watch the video a couple of times just to show you exactly what to do with it, or read up in it. Most sites have got a descriptive write-up on what does what. For me, it is easier to use than the Pravari is, definitely, because just all the buttons are bang, 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 bang. With the Pravari, it's 1 button. If you skip, you have to go back over. With this, there isn't any of that. Alright, so for quick use, this is easier, definitely for me. So it's getting a 10 for me for usability.
Yeah, just his little point, because he poked at my Pravari. It is quicker to use, but the Pravari isn't harder to use.
It is.
It's not harder. It's pressing a button. It's 1 button.
Pressing the button several times, and you need to know what
AO harder,
stands for. It's not. It is.
That is
harder.
easier and quicker.
It's easy.
It's not hard.
It's not hard to use the Pravari once you know how to use it.
Sorry, guys. We're going to.
No, it's not hard to use the Pravari once you know how to use it. No, but on the Pravari, bang, 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 and then bang, PU. So I have to wait power up, and then I have to click the button to go power up. On this, I just go power up, power down. Honestly, I could, in the time it takes you to read your ohms and adjust your voltage, I could have registered my ohms, adjust my voltage, switched to watts, switched back again, and be vaping.
But mine's 100% accurate, so.
Yours is 100% accurate, and mine is like 95.
Right. Anyway, let's get back on topic. Anyway,
I think we then did overall rating.
I haven't done mine yet.
Did you not do
no,
yours?
because I defended my Pravari first.
Fucking defend your Pravari.
I did.
The fact that he has to defend it says something about it, doesn't it?
Whatever. Yeah, functions on the menus and on the 3-button system, it is good. So, I mean...
It's easy, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean,
that's the main thing.
I can't give it a 10.
this is an entry level mod, isn't it?
I know.
The fact that, I'm not talking about why you can't give it 10. But I'm saying this is an entry level mod, and I think they've made the controls entry level.
Yeah.
The Ferrari is more complicated to use. It's not. Worm is right. It's not more difficult once you know what you're doing, but it does take longer. It is more of a you can tailor it more vape, but this is out of the box, just a sort of knucklehead usage in it.
Yeah, it really is. But yeah, like all the menu systems again. I mean, other than the fact that it's that whole 10 seconds that I've got to press it and hold it at the beginning before I even start using my mod to get it on accurate mode, it would be a 10. So I'm still only going to give it 9.5, but 9.5 is still excellent, guys. It's still like...
It's still as high as you're going to get.
It
really,
is.
isn't it? I mean, I think the only reason they probably haven't removed that NO1, NO2 mode is probably because it would cost them more money and then for increase the price of the mod to do so.
Well, I think the other thing as well is, I mean, no, don't worry about that. That's just me being nitpicky again. It's a great mod.
No, go on, what were you going to say? No, you might as well say it, man. People might as well hear what you've got to say.
Well, I was going to say, if they got rid of that NO1 mode, I know it would cost them a little bit of money to do it, but they would only have to do it once and then re-upload the program to the chipset. So it's not overly cost expensive across all the mods the amount they're going to sell. If they got rid of that, they could probably tweak a few settings, maybe get it to hold the charge like the Ferrari a little bit longer, or maybe even just the ohm testage or the battery life testage a little bit more accurate. I mean, I don't know.
See, the only thing I'm thinking as to why they can't do that is, I imagine you've got two chips. Sorry guys, this is more conversation between you. You've got two chips as part of the chipset. I'd imagine the new one is one of those chips and the other one is the other. I'd imagine to do it I'd have to replace the entire other chipset, which is probably going to cost a lot more than a few quid. So it probably would have driven the cost of the Vamo up by 20 or 30 quid.
That's what I'm saying. I don't really know, but it's just like,
for the sake of that 10-second press, I'd have rather paid 40 quid than 60 for me.
But like, it might not cost that over the amount of sales they're predicted to make. So you don't know. It could be an extra £1. For an extra £1, I would pay that to get rid of that stupid setting, and it comes ready to use out of the box.
But
yeah,
it's one of them ones.
It's just a personal niggly little bit. I mean, I'm just voicing my opinion.
It's under his skin.
You could have your own opinion. I mean, you could go, well, the Ferrari's wank because of its price. You know?
To be honest, like, this is something that's more under his skin, and that's the negative you focus on. And to be honest with you, it is really the only negative in terms of usability that this thing has got.
And it's my only thing that bugs me about the thing. I mean, because I am buying one. I've only admitted I'm buying one so I can take a mod out and use it and abuse it, because it is going to be my use and abuse mod. This is my sit in bubble wrap all day mod while I'm at work, and it's got like hymn music in the background just to settle its nerves, just in case it gets a scratch or someone comes near it. You know, I don't know, but it's just one of those things.
It is what it is.
It niggles me.
I think what we did next was basically, if this mod was sat next to all other mods out there,
and they're all the same price.
Price irrelevant, and you sort of picked them all up and you used it, what would you think of it out of 10?
And if you could have any one?
Any one, yeah. Obviously you're going to probably end up with a Ferrari, but if this was out of 10s, price irrelevant, for me, all in...
We'll be careful because we've got one of these, so...
for me, this is sort of 7 to an 8 because of how easy it is to use and the features it's got. That's price irrelevant.
Yes.
Alright. Do you agree with that?
I am agreeing with that. Yeah, no, I am
about 7 or 8 because it is a very nice, very usable mod. And my opinion on that
you can't go wrong.
Price irrelevant, you minge.
No, but like, I know it's price irrelevant, but like, you kind of got to put it in there when you're saying
We're going back onto price now, aren't we?
Yeah.
But if you take the price into consideration, bear in mind, this is probably the cheapest entry-level mod you can get that isn't something stupid like an Ego tube with an Ego top on. 40 quid for what you get out of this and how accurate it is, because it is only out by like 0.1 of an ohm in the ohms test, or 0.2 of a volt at a half-dead battery, that kind of thing. It's basically unnoticeable unless you use the machine to test it. For the money and for what you get for your money, it's a fucking 10. It is an absolutely outstanding mod for its price. So
if they were all the same and you could pick up any one and you could have any one you wanted for 40 quid, we're saying, like, just say even the Ferrari was 40 quid, that would be an 8, the Ferrari would be a 10 sort of thing.
Ferrari really is the benchmark, isn't it?
It is.
I mean, the reason it's the king of the mods is because it is the best. It is basically 10 out of 10. There are, again, I have niggly things with Ferrari, same as Worm does.
Oh, even there is some things that on the Ferrari doesn't niggle me.
But them niggles can be outweighed by its positives, and that is something that the Vamo does when you put that price factor back in. That little NO1 mode becomes irrelevant when you've got to hold it for 10 seconds once, and it remembers once you take the batteries out. It's the only thing it does remember, but it remembers it. That, and maybe the fact that it looks a bit of an acquired taste and the colour options, whatever else, I don't care. It cost me 40 quid, and it does 95% of what the big boys will do. But I'm not going to say a fraction, but a much lower price. So if I was going to recommend a starter mod, which I bought myself, this would definitely be it. I think you probably agree with that as a starter mod.
Yes.
But there's no need for you, if you just want to buy a mod and going to be happy with it, there's no need for you to upgrade the mod, because you go to upgrade, what you're looking at, a ZMAX, twice the price, you're getting the same thing. It's outstandingly good mod.
We don't. I mean, the standard provider. I know I paid a lot more for like 185 for mine because I got it in black and blue LEDs. But the standard provider, we will say, is £160, not 185, which is what we've been saying. And that is in silver. It's just chrome, isn't it?
It's a silver with chrome top and bottom,
Finish,
like yours is,
yeah.
with red LEDs. But the standard Vamo is only 40 quid.
Yeah, but
So
what I'm saying is we don't
price.
know, other than the ZMAX, we haven't really researched is what's in between the ZMAX and the Provari to get you to the Provari.
I mean, there are looks. I mean, you can get like the eye taste MPV and stuff like this, but they haven't got the functionality this has got.
No.
And yes, they've got internal batteries, but for me, and this is just for me since we've moved on to mods like this, internal batteries, if anything, are a drawback. You usually get more power, like in general, so you get 2,600 miles per 2,000. Difference is, after that thing's been charged 500, 1,000 times, your battery drops off. When that battery drops off to a point where it's only holding its charge for a few hours, what do? You have to throw it away. You have to buy an entire new thing for 60 quid. With this, it cost me £6 to replace that battery. No matter what happens to this, as you can see, we'll probably go into the story in a second, but you can see I've had it apart and everything else. No matter what happens, this is never ever going to be a mod that is chucked in a drawer and not used. It is always, if nothing else, this will be the kickabout, take down the pub, throw around mod, because if you do decide to upgrade, it was 40 quid. By the time you've used and abused it, you're only going to hold it in the same kind of esteem that you hold the spinner and stuff in, but it will do 10 times the amount that they will do, and it feels 100 times better than they do.
Oh yeah.
So you can't go wrong. Worst case, very very worst case, you treat it like Worm does his Bavari and sort of nurture it indoors, and you use your spinners out and about. But strongly, I would say you are probably going to just end up using this all the time, because that's what I've done for the last month. Haven't regretted it for a second. Right, I'll let you get on to the story then of what happened when I painted my Vamo, because it's come up now.
We was toying, because obviously we was looking at wraps for Provari and his Vamo, and we come across them. We had a look, and obviously we told you about carbon fibre, white carbon fibre. You can get
you can get blue carbon. Oh, you can get like
it's like a blue mirrored look, isn't it?
Yeah, it's like, I think they described it as halogen or hexagon. Sorry.
Yeah, it was
a bit of blue, red, silver.
But it was like a blue in your face reflective surface.
There's
a red one, and there was a gold one, and there was a silver one, and whatever you wanted basically.
Carbon fibre.
There was ones with a skull on it. There was ones with some purple butterfly, some neon colour straw things flying out and about. So I mean, there are plenty out there to what you want. I mean, there was even a printable template you can buy off, so you can actually stick it into Photoshop or something, make your own bloody template.
Anything you like, then literally anything.
I mean,
you like.
we don't know, we haven't really worked on how we're going to put this around it. If we're going to do our template, we've gone with probably paper. And then
sticky back plastic.
Laminated
between sticky back plastic, so it's protected front and back. Wrap it. Job done.
We hope that would work. But basically, we was time with this, and then Proton says, "Well, what about spray painting it, taking it apart?"
No, I didn't. We was walking around the shop looking for papers that I could use.
The night before,
why don't you just spray paint it?
The night before, he said I could spray it and take it apart, and he actually sent me a video
I did say
of taking it apart. So, and then when we was walking around, we couldn't find anything realistically to make a wrap out of.
Not that I was happy with.
No, there was nothing. We looked in about 5 shops, looking for like black paper to maybe put some like neon paint on or something and go it that way, or just something that, or just some nice paper that would just look good, wrapped around it.
We was toying with making it glow in the dark, but a clear glow in the dark, so it's black by day and luminous by night. It's basically what I had.
But we'll get onto that. So we got into one of our local like DIY kind of bit of everything shops, and we was walking around, couldn't find anything there. But then we come across they had spray paint in there, and Proton saw the black spray paint, and he was like, "I could do it in that." I said, "Well, if you're going to do it, let's do it." We both work in like a workshop where we can go and use and spray paint and not be infecting anyone like in the household or getting paint everywhere that we can't remove it from, sort of thing. So he bought the black spray paint, and I noticed down the bottom there was some glow in the dark spray paint. So I thought, well, fuck it. I was like, I might get that. And he goes, if you get that, I'll spray it on my Vamo. So I thought, all right, for £8, I want to see this. I bought the glow in the dark spray paint. We toddled off back to his workshop. This was about to take apart the Vamo. which was eventful, to say less.
It was eventful, yeah.
Basically, you got to get a glove around the top part of the Vamo here, and then you basically got a grip onto it so you don't dent the actual, because it's obviously made out of copper, isn't it?
It's brass.
Brass. There we go. And then you kind of got to wiggle this bottom bit to actually pop it off. And on the video that we watched, he basically goes wiggle, 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 done. And it comes apart quite nicely, and there's like wires obviously attached to the top and bottom with the chipset. So you've got to be kind of like, even when you come off there, and then you've got to kind of snug the chipset out, and you're all good to go. Roman was doing this, he went wiggle, 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 not moving. Wiggle, 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 not moving. Wiggle, 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 it moved, and he thought, right, I'm going to slow down now, and he literally, not even, it was minuscule pressure, he went pop, and the wires were gone.
Yeah, basically.
The wires come attached from the chipset.
Basically ripped the wire and the solder off the chipset.
The positive and negative.
Yeah. And obviously chipsets are quite delicate, and
we told you about Proton's. He's got no patience when it comes to fiddly little things, and he hasn't. He re-rigged the Arga twice, and it didn't work, and he basically couldn't even look at it. I actually re-rigged his Arga earlier. He was doing it once, and he was like, "No, not doing it. No video, nothing at all. No." And that was it.
Not true.
So I re-rigged it for him, and it was a pain in the ass. Don't get me wrong, because the Arga is a arse to do.
Tricky little bitch.
It's but he got done. But back to the Vamo. He basically, after he pulled this off, he had a little walk around the benches, like.
I refrained from damaging works equipment, is what I did.
And at this point, I really wanted to be sarcastic and wind him up, but I knew if I did, he was going to throw that Vamo probably at my head. So I refrained from doing that. And then we looked at it. We finally got the chips out afterwards with taking the spacer out. I mean, you can find the video.
It's not hard to do.
Yeah, it's out there. There's a little space at the back, a little plastic bit of space. So you pull out, and then the chipset just falls out basically. Well, not falls out, but it comes out quite.
Slides out with a little nudge.
And we looked at it, and it was basically 2 bits of soldering that had fallen off. Thankfully, he didn't break the chipset at all. It's fine. Obviously, you see it working now.
We didn't know at this point, but we kind of went sort of in for a penny, in for a pound. I looked at Will and I says, worst cases, I know you can buy these chipsets for about 15-20 quid. So worst cases, we'll still crack on, paint it all, and then I'll have to order a chipset if we can't get this one soldered and working again, and then we'll carry on from there. That was problem one of many.
But bear in mind, we started this at 4, and he broke this by about 3/4 the chipset. Yeah. And then we painted this. Well, he painted this 3 times.
We did a bit. Basically, by this point, obviously, the top part is usually attached to your chipset. So we kind of had one problem, but overcame another, because we was going to go, how are we going to sort of rough up and paint the top end like where the connection is, because it's attached to the chipset. Obviously, that wasn't an issue after I'd broken it off the chipset. So I kind of cracked on with that. I thought, if anything, I might be able to coat it a bit better now. So taped up the wires, 3 coats of this black paint, and it was looking the dog's Watsits. This is when I had the idea that I thought, I do like the black, but if we spackle it in glow in the dark paint, it'll look the tits. The spackle didn't go as well as anticipated. Basically, we're not sure whether it was a reaction
I
between
want to point this out. He oversprayed the spackling.
No.
He did.
No.
He just did it. It was like, if it's spackling, it's meant to be little dots, yes?
Well, it was little dots.
He had a whole clump that was cracking.
No.
You said it was cracking.
No, mate. Right, I oversprayed slightly, and I thought, well, in which case, what I might as well do is coat the whole thing in spray in the dark and then spackle it with black, because I'd oversprayed the spackle. But actually, I sprayed the whole.
So you did overspray the spackle.
Yeah. No, but not. That was after. Once I've decided that, I've then coated the whole thing in glow in the dark paint, and within half an hour of it drying, it had cracked and stripped the Vamo of the black coats of paint that I'd previously spent 4 hours putting on it. So it then went in the sink and washed off, and then I then had to take it to brass. So I had to literally sit there with a Dremel and remove every bit of paint that I had applied that was remaining, as well as the factory comb dripping. We then spent another 4 hours.
Well, no, we put another coat of paint on it after we'd done all this. We then went out for about an hour to pick up a soldering iron and some solder to refix the bloody chipset onto the wires on the top,
which we did do.
Then we come back, done another 3 coats of paint, didn't you? Because we was there another way. Done another 3 coats. Bearing in mind, we did a lighter coat so it dry a little bit quicker. We had a fan on it this time, so it was drying properly and it wasn't going to be loose underneath, which we suspect we painted it a little bit too quick, which is why the glow in the dark stripped it off. because it was another kind of paint. It wasn't exactly the same paint, so it wasn't sticking to itself, sort of thing. It was trying to stick to another paint, which is our assumption. We're assuming if we'd have left this black to dry completely overnight, the glow and dark paint would have been fine. So, I mean, that's just a user error rather than the paint itself.
What did we then do? We then soldered the chipset, which went, judging by the event of that day, spectacularly well. We wasn't even going to know if this was
like gods.
We were just hoping.
It was like, done.
Yeah, we literally soldered it back on, slapped it, was
that,
done. We waited another about 3 hours for these other coats of paint to dry.
Bear in mind, before we started these 3 coats of paint, it was like 10 by the time we got back.
So we're doing these 3 coats of paint in. It is a workshop we've got, so there's a laptop in there. We're watching shit on our laptop. We've helped ourselves to the kitchen. We're cooking ourselves dinner and everything, and we've done that. We'll give it about an hour and a half for the final coat to dry. After which time I picked it up, put the chipset back in, which was an effort among itself. I nearly then did throw it at Worm purely because he was the only person there to throw it at. It was fucking me off that much.
But he persevered.
I persevered like a beast, and it got done. And then the paint, I wasn't overly happy with how it's finished, to be honest with you, so we're probably going to do the whole thing again.
But I would like to point out, before he picked it up, the paint was looking not spot on, but very close. After he picked it up and that paint wasn't dry enough, it then went really tacky.
Yeah, and really, I mean, it doesn't look bad in the video. Don't get me wrong. It's not as good as it looks in the video. It's not bad, but it's not what I want. The reason I did this is because I wanted it to look exactly how I wanted it to.
He wants it to be a smooth finish.
Basically, what I think we're going to do this time is paint it all, let it dry, enamel paint it over, then lacquer it, and then I'm probably going to stick a layer of fucking plastic over the outside.
I think it's going to be a case of we're probably going to take this thing apart very carefully.
Hell yeah.
Put a coat on the fan, a very light coat, just like a base coat again on whatever's there. Obviously a little sanding off so it sticks properly. A very light coat. Give it like 10-15 minutes so it's got a fresh coat of paint on there with no dust or crap that he's picked up over the next like week or so. Then a nice thick coat where it can soak in and go flat.
2 days drying time.
And we'll probably come back later that evening and pick it up. So it should have a good like 10 hours to dry.
I'm probably going to give it 2 days to dry.
Really?
Yeah, I'll probably have some.
So he needs to find a battery. So if you'd like to donate Proton
a
battery,
I know you guys are looking at buying a Vamo. If you'd like to buy me one, just so a temporary lens, so I can paint my own, I'll be very, very, very grateful.
So honestly, we're happy with a pass through.
But the events of the Vamo just goes to show what the manufacturer offering it in black could have solved. But basically, yeah. Don't take your Vamo apart or any mod apart light-heartedly, and if you've got a Bavaria, don't ever do it.
No.
But it was, again, a Vamo. If it broke, very, very worst case, and I completely ruined it, it's 40 quid versus 200 quid for the Bavaria. So it was a risk I was prepared to take. Honestly, the Vamo chipset back in after us soldering it, not knowing if it works, putting that battery in and that bottom cap, making connection and seeing that light flicker on, it is the best moment of my life since my son was born. It really was a traumatic and eventful evening. But anyway, guys, for the last 15 minutes we've gone well off subject, but this is just a day in the life of what us two plebs get up to.
It was a good idea.
Well, I mean, you've heard us talk about randomness. This is an example of what that randomness can lead to.
What I will say, because there are a few people that we know who watch us are buying Vamos, if you are going to spray paint this thing,
buy a wrap.
Well, but if you are going to spray paint this thing, once you get that first wiggle off, I would suggest slight turns left and right because you can control it more coming off. That is the only difference from the video that we watched. That we're assuming now that we've had this problem, he's probably pre-took that off and only kind of popped that back on, and he's kind of gone, it's off.
Yeah, basically. But take our advice, buy a wrap. If you want to paint it, it's going to cost you 15-20 quid in a load of time anyway.
And 2 days to dry.
And you might as well buy a wrap and have it done in 10 minutes and wait for delivery. But anyway, guys, hopefully this has been helpful. Vaporscape.co.uk, Vamo,
ECR69,
discount code for 10%. Cut of 18 350s and an 18 650 barrier, get you well on your way.
And if Vaporscape are watching this, you need wick, you need flavour art flavourings, you need Perfume Apprentice flavourings,
mesh and canthol
at cheap prices. Bear in mind, we just bought 50 grams, 196 metres for £22. Beat it.
Well, they'll sell it by the metre, wouldn't they? But also, I think what else you need is a 100% discount code for Worm and Proton.
Yes.
I'll just buy all your stock that way because it won't cost me nothing. I'll pay for delivery, I'll buy a van.
We'll have 10 Bavarias in each.
At least.
And we'll take them everywhere.
Yeah, Dan will send you one, bro. But, Dan, I don't doubt you've watched this video. Head Dog and maybe even Steve and one of the new guys who's been watching a lot of our videos.
Yeah, I hope we've been helping you out too, mate. We've
hopefully
been trying to get back to you as much as possible. I mean, be aware that sometimes my replies are his replies as well, because he's on my computer, sort of thing.
To be honest with you, usually tell if I call you mate, it's usually me. But me and Worm do try and keep on top of these priors. Me more than Worm, because Worm has a job where he can't sit on his phone, whereas I can do what I like at work.
Well, I have 2 jobs. One where I can, but it's only 1 day a week, which is a Monday. So if it's not a Monday, I ain't going to be replying to you that often.
But yeah, no, replies do. I mean, if it is me replying, I tend to sort of reply as to what we would both say, not just my opinion.
Quick question: if anyone has got a YouTube out there that is using it, like where they get comments in there, sometimes when I'm checking on my inbox and that, it's not always coming through with everybody's comment. It's not showing up every time.
I think that's because I'm commenting on top of their comments, so it just shows my comment. Because it takes you to the same video. If I comment, so you get 4 different comments on 4 different videos.
But can I tailor that to add it so I can see everyone's?
YouTube help.
Yes, help.
So yeah, if you have any idea about that, then help. Obviously, Worm is after some assistance. Assistance. But yeah, no, guys. Hopefully, we've been helpful. Hopefully, this is answers.
No, we need one more thing. One more thing of the day. What?
Right, what are you after? Oh, he's doing a new thing where he just does a random thing of the video. I don't know. I mean, it's obviously very random because he's looking for it. But
Prawn cocktail, Walker's crisps. Awesome item of the day.
No,
of the video.
Item of the video. Walker's crisps. Alright, but cheers guys, hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully this answered a lot of your questions about where to get the Vamo from and what it does and what it doesn't do. I have been Mr. Proton, he has been the Worm. See you soon.